I promised that for 2,000 subscribers, I would do a RYUKYU World Conquest. This came a lot quicker than I thought it would. Less than a month, to be exact. This has kind of left me worried, as I've never actually finished a vanilla World Conquest. I've only gotten pretty close. I'll probably put a picture up on screen showing it. It also doesn't help that in order to add RYUKYU into the game, I have to add like 1,000 extra provinces, making this challenge even harder for me. For this series, I will do it based on days that I played, with the video being segmented into each day. I can do anything that is permitted in vanilla Iron Man, including making a custom character and going back on save states. There will be no time limit, and it's highly unlikely that I'll actually be able to complete it on time. Finally, during this playthrough, I can change anything about my realm, including my culture and faith. Let's see how our first few days go. Going into this, I was immediately worried, knowing that this would probably take forever to complete. Since RYUKYU is actually an island chain, I had a few options. I'll switch it to in-game me to actually describe my thinking. Okay, so here we are. We have these 4 options here. One of them is pretty close to Japan, and they follow Shintoism. The other 3 guys here are all the same, really, in both culture and religion. But since I've allowed myself to create my own ruler, it doesn't really matter. I'm probably just going to choose him here, since he has most soldiers at the start. Let's go into this. And for my ruler, I decided to go for a militaristic character, as my beginning conquest would have to be fast if I want to survive. I was going to go into more detail about my thinking process, but I had just woken up and I was eating breakfast. So after that, there was nothing else to do but start. Hold on. Wait a minute. Do you see the bottom right there, where there's little circles to press on? This means that in the beginning, when I first started playing, I had the debug menu on, which means that the Iron Man thing is going to say that I didn't complete this in Iron Man. I didn't realize I didn't actually realize this until like day 3 when I was going back through my footage. There's nothing I can really do to remedy that. I did turn it off basically immediately after I started and I realized, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's gonna say that I didn't complete this in Iron Man now, just because of my first little mistake. With that explained, let's go back into it. I immediately got a small alliance and took out the guy above me, as I was kind of scared that Japan would actually take him out immediately. So yeah, I made sure that that wouldn't happen. I then tried to take out the rest of the island chain, taking out the first island with ease, but the second one... Oh, that sucks. I don't know how he just managed to beat me there. That really, really sucks. Yeah. I still don't know how I lost that guy. Even though I lost, I could still create a duchy, so I still felt pretty good. Then I went to Taiwan and lost to another 1 province minor. I felt pretty bad. Oh. I figured I could get a better ally, so I divorced my wife. Sorry, wife. You gotta go. In an attempt to find another one. Finding a new wife, I got revenge, taking over my island chain, along with a chunk of Taiwan, where I got into a very, very intense siege race. Oh my god, that was so stressful. Oh my god. Nice. I conquered a little more in Taiwan, picking my opportunities, when I realized I had a chance at opening a new front. I don't know how I have this much range. I'm not going to complain. This is a great opportunity for us. And take it I did, opening up an entirely new front to go after. Even with this new horizon, another potential conquest option closed. That's pretty unfortunate. That kind of puts a wrench in my plans. Knowing that nothing could be done about the Taiwan situation, I decided to focus on Borneo, and I was slapped in the face with reality. I just took over this duchy here. That must have been one of the hardest conquests I've ever done in this game. We basically lost everything. We lost so much in that. I'm probably going to have to take a few years break from conquering from this. Because of this. It was that bad. I then was able to pay to build a kingdom with ransom money. Then continued to conquer taking out the weaker tribal Chinese duchies and counts. I was looking around for more things to conquer, and I just realized I could just skip borders here and just conquer whatever I really wanted to. I think that's a pretty good idea. I'm gonna start off with this county here. It's probably the weakest, and plus it's in China, which is an area I definitely want to take over pretty soon. So, yeah, he has to go. For the rest of day one, I conquered in silence, with YouTube videos playing in the background to ensure my sanity, mostly focusing on southern China, with one of my biggest wars being my holy war for the kingdom of Luo Dian, I guess, deciding to move my capital temporarily to one of the provinces. Alright, with that victory, I think it's finally time to move my capital from arguably probably the worst spot it could possibly be in to a spot that's decent. It is in mountains, but the culture that this province is in is going to be pretty good for the world conquest here. So, culture blending. Cultural acceptance gain plus 25%. Amazing. Everything else here, swords for hire, I don't really care about. Linguist is okay, I guess. This one here gives us a special men-at-arms. And it's also migratory, which gives dev growth minus 100, but it also gives levy size plus 10%. My biggest war, though, was my subjugation of the Southern Han. A risky, but necessary war. This is a pretty big win. Another thing that's going on right now is obviously an independence war. Probably the first of hundreds. Easy enough. I took an hour break to reflect and came back realizing that things wouldn't get better until I had a faith that had the warmonger tenet. A tenet which allows me to go on offensive wars whenever I wanted without having to worry about the offensive war negative penalty. All I had to do was go on a pilgrimage and help my allies win their wars. Now that that's over with, I can finally actually change my faith. I thought I'd die before I could actually do it, considering how old I am, but we got lucky. I decided on doing a custom faith instead of changing to like Norse, for example, because A, there'd be no chance I'd be able to get all these holy sites, and if I just reform Shintoism, it's right there, and all these holy sites are going to be easy to get now. Another aspect about it, I'll show you, was that I'm planning on adding communion here and making myself the head of faith. So it should be just a money machine. I could also change these to being criminal or being accepted, but I really don't think any of these will really matter. Well, I could get money from actually making all these criminal, adultery especially. Witchcraft, I might actually become a witch at some point, so I could make that accepted. Not everybody will convert, but everybody hates me in my realm, so I'm kind of surprised that 13 out of 28 actually will convert with me. And there we go. At this point, I was just waiting for my character to die before I went to bed. I decided that for his final conquest, he would go to southern Japan and start taking his holy sites. That took forever. He lived to be 87 years old with like no health benefits somehow. He was super good, obviously. I am pretty tired. His heir is pretty good too. Not too bad at all. The realm was probably in good hands. I'm not too worried about it. At the end of day one, this is what our kingdom looked like. Extremely fragmented in several different areas, with our Chinese holdings being our most important. We ended the day off with 75 counties. Not too impressive, but if I play my cards right, this should ramp up exponentially. For day 2, there were 3 goals. Expand my realm, create an empire title, and make sure I didn't fall apart. Falling apart was definitely our most pressing issue, and it knocked on our door basically immediately. We almost became incapable, which we got lucky on. If that did happen, I don't even know what could happen, but it definitely wouldn't have been good. I've kind of realized how much of an issue Tang is going to be. I can either full out subjugate him, which I think would be a pretty bad idea. How many counties does he hold on to right now? 153. And I'll gain all these hostile vassals, so I think that's a pretty bad idea to do. Or what I could do is just kill him, hope that his realm falls apart, and then just pick the scraps. I think option B is a lot better than option A, so I'm probably going to spam kill him and spam kill the Tang Emperors I did. Spam killing them over and over. I also took out Korea with our one and only kingdom level Holy War, and I was able to create our first empire title, the Empire of Korea. Oh yeah, and I also converted to Thai culture. After killing a few Tang Emperors, I decided on a risky play. You know what? My views have changed on the Tang. I probably killed like 4 or 5 of their guys, and I honestly think that they are basically unkillable. So, that leaves me with my option to be subjugation. There is a chance that this does go well, but it's highly unlikely. I think I'll survive, but just barely. We're still pretty young and healthy, so we have time. Let's go for it. Oh god. That's kind of unfortunate. So A, I probably lost 15 minutes of my life trying to siege down all these provinces for no reason. And B, this means I'm going to have to do another Holy War for Kingdom on Chi, I think it is. Yeah, on that one there. Oh well. Okay. Let's see how this goes. I am not too sure about this. I'm facing a separate independence faction. This one I'm not too worried about, but all of these guys, actually, they don't really seem to mind too much. This is probably manageable, actually. And after my victory, I was able to easily convert most of my new subjects to my faith. Nice. There is another one that can basically push whenever they want to. I'm not too worried. With all my allies, both of these factions will basically be a cakewalk. Any other factions became too weak to my power, meaning I got away with taking over 100 counties virtually for free. I was pretty happy with this. Before I deal with them though, I'm going to add by the sword to my culture, which will take forever. But in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of short. I'm expecting this to take, I don't know, 750 years minimum. So 30 years is kind of a drop in the bucket here, and we definitely need it. So, there we go. I have one Invade Kingdom CB. I think the best option here is basically just Vietnam Kingdom here. They have a ton of counties. Like, I'll probably gain 40 counties just from this one kingdom. So, out of every option, it's probably the best one. This Invade Kingdom CB was an extremely important choice. And I think I chose right, if I do say so myself. I've realized a pretty big setback here. So, basically everybody on, let's say, this whole entire part of the world here, all consider me a stray. Usually that's okay, but in a world conquest, that means I can't do Holy War for Kingdoms on basically any of these people. This is going to slow down my conquest over here by quite a bit. But my plan here is to basically just island hop until I get over here. When I get over here, conquering should be pretty easy. And plus, my culture thing will come in 16 years. I'll probably reach there in like 5. So like 11 years. And after I get it, I'll obviously just push my Holy War for Kingdom CVs, which would be very plentiful. If I do end up taking out everybody, I might also convert to a Mohidism, which if you don't know, I might put up on screen, has the Warmonger trait in it. So basically what I'll do is do my Shinto half of Warmonger for this half of the world, and the Muslim Warmonger for this other half. But let me just island hop, and then I'll get back to you. I kind of realized that during that, it's actually quicker to just hire mercs and have them go over there. I'm guessing it's because of how far my capital is away from all the way over here, but it takes like minimum 3 months for my troops to raise. Here's our first foothold, and hopefully a very, very profitable venture for us. After I got my foothold in Arabia, I was tired and decided to conquer a little bit before I went to bed. With this last conquest, I'm going to call it for tonight. Let's go to voice over me and talk about today. Thank you, real-time me. Anyways, our empire is now virtually unstoppable already. boasting high troop counts with men at arms that are already a force to be reckoned with. At day 2's end, we have 346 counties total, a massive jump from our measly 75 just the day before. We also played as the same guy the entire day, showing just how much you can actually do in a single life in this game. Overall, I went to bed confident that the next day would be full of expansion and empire building, as By the Sword was just a few short years away. I woke up on the third day, determined to make a noticeable dent in my progress, making sure that I would have a high enough troop count so that destroying the eventual Mongol hordes would be easy. I waited for By the Sword. It's time. I think the best idea is going to be going for Persia here. If I go for Arabia, these guys will all become free. It would just be an absolute pain to deal with, and I honestly don't want to deal with it. So yeah, let's go for Persia, and let's do this. That took a little bit, but hopefully that's the first of many. And it was. As I took out Yemen, I noticed that my vassals actually did something for me. Look at that. One of my vassals actually did something. I think that's the only external war that one of my vassals has done besides this one here. Who did this? The King of Yan did it. Thank you, King of Yan. I had to take this county here to actually do a holy war in Egypt. This is going to be pretty big. Feeling safe in our new holdings, I decided that I should prepare for the Mongols by trying to conquer any land they could possibly end up holding, meaning that they would be even weaker for me. Looking up north, I found Victim 1, the Kingdom of Khitan. Cool. Briefly being distracted by Egyptian rebels, my aging ruler finally kicked the bucket. I'm actually kind of sad. He's dead. He's dead at 86. We did so much with him, and he's gone. He lived so long to where all his kids died before him, and his grandson is 32 years old. He turned out pretty good. In the beginning, he was kind of bad with his stewardship. Why does he have the architect lifestyle trait? I have no idea. Let's just jump into him and finish this war here. Finishing the Peasant War, I could finally start expanding again, attacking everyone I could do holy wars on that bordered my north. Just kidding. Did you really think that you could not face a faction with a new ruler in CK3? Of course. Of course. Fun. I completely forgot about the other war I declared. So I moved over there and... oh my god, please end. Please end. Finally. Okay, so this war is winnable, obviously. I'm probably going to win after this battle. But I'm sure you're noticing, but there's already lag. This is not good. I know what I could do. I could probably just decrease my graphics settings, and maybe that would help. But I kind of don't want to do that. But if I have to, I mean, I'll just make the game look horrible to finish this. Here we go, by the way, and we're looking pretty good now. The biggest issue at this point was the amount of time it was taking my troops to rise. A 19-month rising period is absolutely miserable to sit through. This means that I can't waste raising troops at all. It means only either doing wars that allow me to do kingdom wars like island hopping like earlier, or just flat out doing kingdom level wars. I also realize that the only time I should actually use my good tribal CBs is when I can't use my holy war CBs, which is going to be in most of Asia at this point. Okay, I couldn't take it anymore, and I've decreased the quality of the graphics a little bit. I know that that's not normal. Usually there's mountains there, but they're all missing now, which is better for me, obviously. I don't know what else is missing. The troops are still there. And the terrain looks pretty bad, but I need this to be this way. Screw this guy, man. Holy crap. That was by far the worst war I've faced so far. That was absolutely miserable. For the rest of the day, I listened to music while conquering little pockets around the world before I got tired of playing and decided to continue playing another day. Thank you, me, but you couldn't get enough, and you decided to finish off a rebel faction before you actually quit playing. Anyways, here's our run at the end of day 3. I have 883 counties. Our most prominent holdings, besides the ones around China, are the ones in Africa, and I've taken a sizable chunk out of Eastern Africa here. Comparing day 1 to day 3, you can see just how quickly we're actually rampaging across the world. especially considering that we started day 1 on just one tiny little island. We'll begin the next episode in the series, starting off with an aged ruler, with a shy son as his inheritor. Will he be able to keep his dynasty's empire intact, or will he cause its collapse? We'll find out in part 2.